Well, hello fellas, it's me Hiba aka Hoovy11 and welcome to a new episode of FASCOTF Reviews. And today we're gonna review the fifth comic from the second season and overall the 12th ever FASCOTF comic released. So fuck. Yeah, I know what you're thinking, and if you're new to the series and you don't know what the hell is up with, pretty much everything, I know this name sounds really strange, and I can disagree. But we're also gonna talk about the name later, so yeah. But as I said, fellas, if I don't have any important announcements about my channel or shit like that, I said that we shouldn't make the intros any longer. So yeah, what are we waiting for? Let's just start analyzing the comic, shall we? So first things first, we're gonna start with the plot or the story. The story starts with a gang, and this time the gang being Fabi, Shooter, Georgia, Andrea, Vlad, Theodore, Reno, and Ricardo playing Truth or Dare. And they were playing Truth or Dare. I don't think there's anything really important to talk about, considering that it's more about the jokes, the more scenes that I've done here. But we're gonna talk about the scene in particular. So nothing really important happens until it's Reno's turn. Reno wanted to challenge Ricardo. It's said, and if you ask the universe, that Ricardo has a special dance it was said that it's actually cursed and it's doing some really bad things. So yeah, it actually made a portal to the Generband universe. Yeah, Reno basically challenged Ricardo to do that dance because he didn't believe that the legend was true, so he wanted to see it on himself. And yeah, because Shooter wanted to go to the bathroom, and the guys, again, didn't see really the portal that well that was on the other side, so Shooter accidentally goes into it. And then Fabi goes to after him because, of course, his best friend, and Andrea after Fabi because he's his boyfriend, and George after them because why not? He thought it's at the jumping portal contest or something. Oh shit, sorry. Okay, better. So this is where the real shit happens. So it was so Fabi woke up in Fabiana is of course Fabi's Generband, in her bed. Yeah, they're both confused. What the hell just happened? Okay, guys, can you just please let's play a game. Every time I say confused, or shit like that in a fast review, please drink a shot. Let's play a game. So yeah, both of them were confused because what the hell happened and how did they get here? And yeah, they were thinking about the shit, and they made some logical options about what's going on. And yes, they came to the conclusion that they're each other's Generband. So yeah, basically the entire the same shit is happening with the same in each one of them. Even Shooter, George, and Andrea too, but in other forms. And if you really want to know, please read the comic, because it's much more depending on the jokes or humor. And yeah, they're talking gender bands, those scenes that were did as a more meh. But then at some point, Fabi and Fabiana decided to do a comic together or something, and Fabiana was suddenly really depressed. Fabi was asking her why. I mean, Jesus Christ, moody just like him. Of course, and Fabi's moody like me. Oh wait, that actually makes sense, so never mind. So yeah, then Fabiana tells Fabi it's because of Andre, because Andre doesn't love her and shit. And yeah, then Fabi wanted to help her because how he said that how he got Andre, he was pretty sure that Fabiana could get Andre too. So yeah, they're calling Andre, and they asked him why he didn't want to go out with Fabiana and why he doesn't like her and shit, but he was confused at first and he thought he was just joking. And did I say he? Sorry, she was just joking. sexuality. Okay, so she was just joking, and yeah, then she gave her a chance. She wanted to go. He wanted to go out with her, and there was Andrea too, and Fabi didn't know that, so they're talking shit and blah blah blah. But not really important until they're talking about where they should meet. But actually, it's really important because Fabi and Andrea met because again, all of them were separate, letting separate home, so they would finally meet up again, so they could get the others too and go back home. But Fabi, basically, entire episode is mostly the most point of it, except for the going back home, is Fabi helping Fabiana to win Andre. So yeah. Then later they're going to that place. They're waiting for Andre and Andrea. They show up out of nowhere. They're talking shit, where to meet and stuff. And then yeah, the entire date it resumed on the four guys looking for Shooter and George to get him back. So there's a footage of going to Shooterina's house actually, and Shooter and Shooterina were recording a fucking porno. What? And was also Stefania, which I really don't really consider to be a really important gentleman because she didn't get that much attention in this comic, and honestly, even Georgiana got more attention than her. But still, pretty much to be honest, on the same level. And yeah, they were recording a porn until the gang, especially Fabi, interrupts the entire thing. So Fabi pulls out his gun. He actually tortures somehow Shooter to go back and leave Shooter not alone because he's just a gentleman and blah blah blah. And then they started to. He started to Jesus Christ, I forgot a freaking word. Like when you want to make fucking citizens like both, you like somehow like dominating. But I really don't forget. I forgot about a freaking name. Neutralizing. I think that's the name, neutralizing. And yeah, he basically wanted to neutralize everybody in the fucking room. And yeah, then Fabi luckily takes Shooter back, and yeah, it's really, really sad because he left Shooterina and shit. Then later, Fabiana gets Georgia, luckily, but it was also fucking hard for Georgia too, because holy shit, Shooter and Georgia actually fell in love with the Jenna bands. Yeah, I know what you're thinking, and I honestly think it's quite a strange. Even I do think that. And then, yeah, they're waiting for Ricardina to show up because Ricardina is the only person in this universe that could do the dance that could bring him out. It's literally Ricardo's dance, but reversed. I mean, I don't think anything more than that really makes any sense. And yeah, Ricardina does the dance, and yeah, because it's almost the same as Ricardo's dance, Shooter got hard again. So yeah, shit happening for the second time. And yeah, but at least it ended with a happy note for Fabiana because she actually got called to be at Andre's home, so maybe she got a chance to be with him. So good for her at least. But even with this, we're not done yet. It's also Fabi telling Stefan about the entire thing. And then Stefan went to Stefania's house to rape her. Yeah. Huh. Well, what can I say about a plot? A plot is, honestly, it's to be okay. Look, it's a really decent plot, but to be honest, compared to the all Silly World comics, but I think that actually makes sense because the Silly World comics particularly resumed a much more complex plot because they were adventures. Adventure episodes. Yeah, it was the entire point of the entire trilogy was to resume on an adventure and a lot of stuff to happen. And this comic, like the Self Fuck, and even the Bigass Mafia have been robbery by Alex the Sexy Weeb resumed on that thing. But I think it got a little bit more complex in here. But we're gonna talk about this in the next episode. But again, because this comic didn't really have the most complex story, and honestly, I can even compare it to Lost in Hell Anywhere But Home. It's really simple in my opinion, hence the facts that happen here that actually zoom more on humor. I can't really say that the story was really great in this comic. I'm sorry, if you think like that, then I'm glad. But in my point of view, even as a creator, I really don't think so. So, yeah. Now moving on, we're gonna talk about the humor in this comic, which, well, I've talked shit about the story or plot. It's actually not as good as the previous comics, and while there might be true in my opinion, the humor is actually exactly the opposite. I think that this comic did honestly much more better work with the humor again. And honestly, it actually kind of happened more like the season one type of humor. Like it didn't really, it didn't have to have a lot of sense with the story. It doesn't really have to do a big thing with it, like a big side. Actually, it's more on not a randomness, not at all. It wasn't really random. It was at moments. But it actually had a first season sense of humor because again, it didn't really resume on the plot and more of it humor itself, and it actually built a story with the humor, if you know what I mean. So the humor, to be honest, with that being said, and if we have to take an example now, um, uh, the freaking well, I think I remember now. I forgot to say for the previous comics which jokes were my favorites. I really don't remember if I said it in Anywhere But Home or Lost in Hell. But from what I remember, I'm sorry if this is an interruption moment, but I'm gonna tell you right now. My favorite parts in I think in Lost in Silverwood I said it. So in Lost in Hell, my favorite joke. Oh wait, Lost in Hell. Yeah, I think I said it was the moment when Fabi and Andrea. Yeah, in Anywhere But Home. My favorite joke in Anywhere But Home was honestly, to be honest, it was Stefan fucking the dust doll. Okay, now I said that. I hope you're happy. And that being said, my favorite part of the joke in this comic was, to be honest, I think it was the moments with Fabiana talking where they should go. But it's also pretty much on par with Fabi busting in Shooterina Shooter's porn studio in quotation marks. It's pretty much on par, but I think I actually like the scenes with Fabiana more. But still on par with the busting scene. So again, the humor compared to the previous comics, at least it's all better. It's not a lot better, but not really small better. I can say it's just a little bit better, but not really too much. It's just better. So yeah, moving on, we're gonna talk about the characters. So of course, in this comic, a new series of characters were introduced to us. Those being genre bands, which were Fabiana, Shooterina, Georgiana, Andre, Stefania, and Ricardina. If I forgot somebody, please tell me in the comments, because from what I know, those are the genre bands. Let's not, if they included any cameos, let's not include them, please. It's already another thing when there are cameos and what's true. But with that being said, yeah, now the main characters. So yeah, actually, with that being said, I want to show you. I mean, I hope I convinced you what's the true spell, the true way to spell those names. Like I met a couple of people who didn't spell Fabiana his name properly. I mean, yeah, it's not on English like Fabiana or shit like that. No, it's Fabiana, and I hope you understand now. And I'm sorry about this, but fucking hair's getting my fucking mouth. But anyways, other than the general bands, the other characters were Fabi, Shooter, George, Andrea, of course, the Gold Quadro, Theodore, Reno, Vlad, Ricardo, Stefan, who else? Except again cameos. Let's not include cameos that they talked in dialogue or shit like that. That bomb, that son of Andre. I'm not sure if it counts actually, but let's say it does. And I don't know. I don't know if I. No, I don't think there. Actually, in this comic, there are not too many characters to be honest. And yeah, pretty much focused again. It actually uh, unlike the previous comics from the Sui War Trilogy, which presumably just focused on a single character to give him some special development. This comic actually focused on the old quadro that was in Japanese niggers too. Those of course being, I think you actually got tired of me saying their names every freaking time. So, but that's actually a great thing because I really missed developing the characters from that quadrant. I think that's actually the most notable and the most iconic team in this entire comic series, and I think for all the time. Like, hell, it's honestly better as a quadra like Fabi Shooter, and even George and Andrea too than just Fabi Shooter, just a duo like you're in the title. So I hope you understand what I mean. But of course, we're not gonna talk about this. Moving on, we're gonna talk about the art style, which, well, to be honest, I don't think there's really too much to say about it. Like, I'm just being honest now. Again, I said in some episodes that actually the art style is not really different in the second season. If you compare those comics with each other, especially from Lost in Hell and onwards, you can't really say that there's some improvement or downgrades. I mean, even I tried to make it on the same level. I didn't try to progress or doing the opposite thing, which is obviously worse. But, at least I tried. So, yeah. I thought. So, yeah, but if I have to be honest, even the art style is pretty great. But I don't think there's anything really important to talk about it. So, moving on. And you know what? I won't even say what I'm gonna do now because I think you already got along with it. So let's just move with it. I tried to make a good rhyme, but I actually feel like a fucking stupid faggot that I am. But who cares? So the first fact about this comic is that in case you didn't know, I'm gonna say now the fact. So the first fact about this comic is that, and I think this is actually the most important one if we just have to take it from the title, simple, it's that Shooter actually came up with the comic name. I mean, So Fuck was not a name created by me, he came up with his name, and I thought, yeah, this actually may work, but I think we need to ask more people what they think about it. And guess what? People actually liked it, so we laid So Fuck. And this is the only Fasco comic in the second season in which he came the name with, and actually the only Fasco comic by far. Even if you know what notable thing he did with the entire Fasco franchise and series or whatever you want to call it, but as a comic episode, this is the only one he came the name with. Another fact about this comic is that Reno actually co-written this episode, and yeah, if you really want to know what parts, because except for that part, I really don't remember with what he contributed. I don't even think he did with anything else. But I know he actually contributed a lot with the writing, and actually, you could say that even now, the footage showing the background, except for the jokes and stuff about it, but the main plot, the main story, the main thing, I mean, Shooter going in that portal and shit, okay, not the way, but Shooter going in that portal, look at him. You see Shooter is going to the portal. Imagine that upward him is saying Reno's written, but the way he's going to portal, it's the way I made it. So yeah, basically almost the entirety of the first scene, I mean right here with the gang playing truth or dare, is written by Reno. It's not also so random that he's telling the entire shit how it's going with gender bands. He actually came out with the idea that Ricardo should do that reverse dance that actually spawns a portal in which we go to our gender band. So basically, he came out with the entire introduction. If he wasn't here, if he wasn't actually to write this comic, I don't even know how it would have started. I mean, how the gang would have came to the German universes. And honestly, I'm pretty glad it came out this way. I mean, seriously, like, it could have been way worse because I really didn't have an idea. That I was asking Reno, do you have an idea? So yeah, thank God, Reno, thank God I had you, man. If you see this video. Another fact about this comic is that, talking about Reno, after an entire season absence, and not only him, but let's start with him first. After an entire season absence, his character first appeared for a long time already. And I think Reno actually, from what I've seen, and even from the FASCOTF cast, they're actually voting Reno to be one of the best characters, and I could see why. So yeah, I guess his fans missed him. And not only him, but even Theodore and Vlad, since the prequel for the Christmas comic, except for a cameo of Vlad in Lost in Hell, they were not shown since. So yeah, I guess this was a pretty nice time of seeing them again in a long time. And this is, and also talking of, actually this leads to another fact. Another fact is this comic that it actually takes the shift of making Ricardo a separate character from Reno, in which before I was considering Reno Ricardo to be the same character, and you could actually see in the downloadable link for the first season, even if Ricardo was not. Oh shit, this sounds so bad. It actually made it sound true. But considering that Ricardo was not shown in the first season, well, it's not really a big deal to be honest. But at least there's a proof that this was true. So yeah, in this comic makes the quotation of Ricardo being a separate character since. But at first, Ricardo and Reno were the same character. Yeah, I know this sounds strange, but another fact about this comic is that I've actually tried to make it like an older FASCOTF comic, like the first season FASCOTF comic. I mean the entire production for this. You know, if you know Korn 3, remember who you are. If you're a fan of Korn, you may know that you've heard that actually Korn tried their freaking best to make an album that sounded like their older stuff. Well, this is pretty much the same thing with FASCOTF right here, but what can I say about a project? Well, we're gonna talk about this in the end, don't we? So yeah, I tried to make it as a older FASCOTF comic, and all the production, like I didn't try to make the story, the entire thing, the characters and all that shit, and I'm trying to make it for the sooner too. So yeah, we will just see about that. But I really tried with this comic to make it like an old FASCOTF comic, but still maintain a second season sense of it, of course. And hell, I'm gonna try this with the Bigass Mafia sub being grabbed by the Alex the Sexy Weeb. But the thing is that with that one I didn't try so hard as I did with this one. So yeah. Another fact about this comic is that let me think. The Notre Dame thing, which is a pretty funny thing. Like when Osama said that I'm gonna do the same with your houses, like Osama, like Jesus Christ, I know Notre Dame burned last night isn't actually random. It was actually true, and I remember a day before I started working on this comic, Notre Dame burned. And the first thing that came into my head was, of course, Osama bin Laden. So the entire thing with Osama bin Laden was just written one day before I even started working on the comic, which is a good thing. So I'm pretty good. I'm actually really glad it wasn't too late. I'm not really sure if actually there were some terrorists who burned Notre Dame that day. I really have no idea, but in my imagination, it was some sort of Al Qaeda or ISIS, but not really. Some sort of really big ass terrorist group, but you know. So yeah, it wasn't actually completely random. Another fact about this comic is that while I was making this comic, I've actually found my favorite song of all time that it's been since, of course, Gehenna. Yeah, such a good freaking song. Like it even fitted with my mood at this comic, and you'll see why. Yeah, not really important fact, but if you really care about my personal life, I think this is actually a pretty big deal. I think. Okay. So moving on, we are gonna talk. The next fact about this comic is that I forgot to say one of the most important things. What the fuck? Andrea actually came up with the designs that we all know today. At first, especially if you knew, if you look at the older posts in the FASCOTF page, you could actually see that there were some sort of different designs for the genre bands. And hell, even a prototype for Fabiana was shown in Lost in Hell, and I said that in the Lost in Hell review. So the designs were so original. But right now, because I just talked with her on the phone, like a couple of days ago, she told me that she was actually inspired by the designs that I made, which is quite of strange. But you see, from a stupid design, you could come with such a genius design. So yeah. But I'm glad that I actually nailed her designs, and even she was glad that I actually drawn her, or damn, actually, as she wanted. So yeah. And the second last fact about this comic is that and I hope, except this one, I really hope I didn't forget something really important about it. Is that after a long while, luckily and happily, the Dark Georgia made a cameo, but in another form. So yeah, as I said in the previous comics, I really didn't want to make it like to be in each freaking comic because of course that will be really repetitive. But hey, I guess, as I said in just a couple of minutes ago, most of those things were actually inspired by the first season comics. So yeah, that actually makes sense if you think like that. So yeah. Oh no, not the mouse cursor. God damn it. So yeah, fellas, we have one more fact left, and I have to admit I will not be really that happy talking about that one. But if you really want to know, while I made this comic, I was, maybe to be honest, and if I have to think now twice, from all of fast food comics by far, and you could talk that. Remember, there are periods of those comics which made months, like when you were back home, or Lost in Hell, or the biggest bank, the biggest Mafia stuff. Okay, so as I said, um, honestly, this has to be the comic I like the least while I made it. I was just feeling terrible on the most part, and there's actually a good reason for it. Look, I really don't want to give some really deep, some really big details about all this because again, it's more of a more, personal problem, and I think even Andrea won't be really comfortable with this. So yeah, sadly, when I made this comic, I was in a really, I mean, for in its first part, like until the genre bands meet their genre bands, of course, it was all good in my life, with real life period. But somewhere between, actually at the middle, when I was working on this comic, something terrible happened. And while I admit that it wasn't really great in general, there was a lot of problems, but I really don't want to talk about them. Halfway of this comic, through its comic, and yeah, Andrea broke up with me for a while. And look, I really don't like talking about this, to be honest. Especially I was working on this comic, it really hit me, and it actually affected working on this one. I took a break for a couple of days, and it was terrible in the most part. What can I say? But because of this, even if the comic is good, I can't say shit about it. And even if it's not like it's the same excuse like was the new CNAT album, which was rushed. This one is even worse if you think like that. We broke up. Actually, she broke up with me for a couple of reasons. But I'm telling you, when I was working on this comic, it was just terrible in the most part. My everything that was happening in my life was terrible. But holy shit, what the fuck just hit me when I was working? It actually affected the comic a lot. And just when I remember, I just remember how much pain I felt. Like, it's not a really great thing to talk about it, but honestly, it it affects a comic. I was working more with pain than enjoyment at some point, but I said I don't disappoint my fan base. I have to do it for them. Even if I was hurt, let's be serious, guys. Did you feel it? Have you felt it in reading this comic, the entire process? Just please tell me in the comments, because from what I've seen, as a couple of months later, as an entire new experience, I honestly don't see it. Everything is normal. It doesn't really show that I was hurt or not. So as you can see, I really tried my best to keep it good and not make the comic terrible or shit like that. Because instead of rushing it and making terrible, I would honestly preferred waiting until I got back on my feet. So like for almost 1 week I was in pain, and again it was terrible that I was working on this comic. And even in that, exactly in that week, I found Gehenna. Holy shit! Can you even imagine how I would have not cried at this song? It would have been impossible. Am I right? And listen to Gehenna if you don't know what I mean. Even the song itself is really sad. It doesn't really sound like the saddest song ever, not as enough, especially if you're a Slipknot fan. You know what I mean? But it was just, I think it was just written to happen. But luckily, 1 week later, we got to be together again. So yeah, it could have been worse. But all I'm saying is that it was just terrible when I was making this comic. I was just feeling stupid, just stupid, most part, sad, depressed, angry, and I thought all of that was because of me. But hey, I can really talk more details about this, but at least as a FASCOTF fan that you are, please have a moment for your so let's say in quotation marks once again your idol. So please have a moment for me. Let's have a moment of silence for you. Now you're thinking that I'm just joking, but seriously, guys, it really hit me out. It was just terrible. So let's have this moment of silence and not some cringy shit or ironic shit. Silence moment for 10 seconds. Again, I'm glad all that pain ended. And now, me and Andrea, if you really want to know, we're a much better place, much better than before. She quite have changed when it's about relationships and stuff, and I can lie with this. But even now, it's much better than before. We are also almost always calling each other when we can. We're really happy together. Like, oh, I always spend my time with her. She's just the best wife ever. Even if, again, she did some mistakes in the past, but so I can't really go on more details about this. Again, I think it was just written for me to happen. I really didn't have a choice for the most part. I think this comic being the 5th one from the 2nd season, I think it's a curse with the 5th comics from each season. What the fuck? Like, holy crap, even from the 1st season, the new CNAT album, I felt pretty bad while making it. So I actually felt bad, but not as bad as this one, come on. So yeah, guys, so it actually makes sense now. So, holy shit, I just talked 7 minutes about this entire thing, but it was, again, really painful, and I really wish nobody would go to the things that just went in that period. But if you really want to know, I'm much happier now, much better, and I'm much better with her, of course. But I'm glad it just ended. That's all I can say. So moving on. Oh boy, oh boy. I've talked about a lot of shit, like a lot of shit, but you know, I think I had to. So yeah, again, once again, if you really want to know from all the FASCOTF comics by far, this one actually is perhaps, if not, it's the comic I felt the worst when I made it. So yeah. But hence that, let's analyze the comic itself. So again, the story was not really complex, so because of this, it will actually not be a really high grade, so you can expect this. But again, the story was really great. It was a story after all, even if it's much more equivalent of what am I saying? In my opinion, even Japanese English had more adventure than this one. I don't know, this one resumed more on character developing for the genre band or something. Yeah, it's a unique comic, I know. It's a unique comic even about the story itself, but it's just as a story. But the humor, even if you know what the fuck happened in this period, it was just so fucking great. Like the humor in this comic, I think with each comic, FASCOTF humor is getting better and better, and I'm not kidding now. I think I'm getting a funnier person or something, but I'm not really sure. It even hurt I could have nailed some really funny jokes. And you can disagree that even as a creator, maybe I'm selfish or something, but I'm laughing at my own jokes. So the humor was really fucking great here. For the characters, again, it was really nice to see Reno, Theodore, and Vlad for a long time already, and Ricardo in a separate character. I really hope I got new fans with the introduction of Ricardo. And the old squad, or quadro, how we want to call it, as we all know it, Fabi, Shooter, Jordan, Andrea, since the Japanese leaguers, they are first shown as a team again. Did on purpose, of course. And the art style, which is not really important, but So again, because this is pretty much a first season comic, but I mean it's a second season comic, sorry, but with first season elements, and honestly from all the comics from the second season, this one actually has to be the most similar one with one from the first season. Hell, in my opinion, it's actually more similar to a first season comic more than the prequel for the Christmas comic of Lost in Civil War, but that's just my opinion. Hell, yeah, I know it's quite strange what I say now, but this is just my point of view. But because shit happened to me in that period, and it was the worst I felt when I made a FASCOTF comic, even to this day. Honestly, I will give it a. I will not be that rude with it again because it's a great comic, really great actually, but it's just too terrible what happened to me to rate it higher than 8. So I will give it a 7 out of 10. And okay, lay down that finger, lay down a mouse or whatever the fuck you're using, a Xbox controller, whatever. Please lay it down. This is just my opinion. And I'm saying this because I know that most FASCOTF fans just as, and I think this actually counts as a fact, but I'm not really sure. Most FASCOTF fans really, if we have to take Lost in Hell away, this is also the comic they remember the most, you know, like, because it's a gender bend comic. Like, holy shit, from a lot of universes I know, the gender bend things are actually the most, from what I know, some of the most notable. Honestly, even if I made this comic, even the gender bend idea is kind of overrated in my opinion, but I wanted to experiment. It was actually quite a fun for me. It was fun because, again, if it were some characters not made by me or, characters that were actually made 100% by me and not characters inspired by people in real life, which is rather actually use their real names and blah, 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 you know what I mean, then honestly, it wouldn't have been that good. So, yeah, actually the entire gender bend idea was more because of the characters themselves. Like, if I had another characters, okay, you get a point. So yeah, fellas, again, 7 out of 10. So yeah, and even if you may consider it to be one of the best FASCOTF comics, because again, most FASCOTF fans really consider this to be one of the best or one of the most notable or iconic ones. Well, it's your opinion, but as the creator, even as a creator, I really don't think this one is real great. Hence the things that happened to me in real life. But the humor in this comic is too fucking good to not give it some points in here. Even the plot is not that bad in the idea and shit, but So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and watch the other review episodes and watch the comics, of course, if you haven't. And I will see you in the next episode and the final of the review series by far, because of course we're gonna start making a new review series in 1 or 2 years, I'm not sure, but at least I'm gonna do season 3 fully or something, or not season 3. I really don't even know. I could name the next season, but we're gonna talk about it in the next episode of FASCOTF Reviews. So as I said, we're gonna see you in the next episode of FASCOTF Reviews, which will be about the Bigass Mafia style bank robbery led by Alex the Sexy Weeb. Yes! I finally nailed the fucking name. Yes, yes. Like, holy shit, I've watched those episodes of my reviews, and sometimes I was just fucking up the name. Like, and yeah, I cringe sometimes, but, it's not really that important. And talking of which, I've talked about Gehenna. Well, I'm gonna listen to that song right now. I really wanted to listen to that. But who cares, huh? But seriously, if you haven't listened to that song, please do it. I'm telling you, you won't regret it. So, guys, I was Niba Hiba. I hope you have a great day. And yeah, I'll see you another time. Bye bye. I wanna die. I wanna cry.